Hello guys, it's your boy Slick back with another video here. And before we start talking about what's going on with this car, I would like to spread some positivity. Yesterday I was very frustrated with this car. I've been frustrated for like the past 2 or 3 weeks because my physical health has started declining. A lot of the stuff that I have to maintain and keep in charge of and always thinking and getting in my own little world had overwhelmed me, and I started having like mental breakdowns silently, and I burst out a little bit. And the reason I'm talking about this is because sometimes I get caught up in my own world and other people do as well. And I have to like reel myself back in and bring myself in reality and be like, yo, this is what it costs to be blessed. Like, I'm not trying to, brag or anything, but as a young man in my mid-20s, I guess you can say early mid-20s, in a house and a whole bunch of cars and stuff, I'm blessed. I could be literally getting bombed to smithereens right now. So the last thing I'm gonna do is complain about the lifestyle that I live. And I just got so caught up in my own bull crap that I just forgot to just, be grateful for what I have. And so I would like to give that message out to anybody who thinks who's going through something. Just pioneer through it, because this is not oppression Olympics, but somebody has it worse. And if you have a positive role model, talk to them, get them back on your feet, level-headed and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, man, whatever you're going through can be pioneered through. People go through like mental health issues and stuff like that, and most of the time it don't even really be that serious. I'm gonna be really honest with you. I'm gonna be the first to say it. It don't even be really that deep. Sometimes it is that deep, but you still have to like pioneer through it. Use that negative energy into positive energy and just keep moving forward. And that will, that's a big ass bird. And that that will solve a lot of your problems. It's so easy to get caught up in your own world. It's so easy to just think about you, and we live in such a me mentality that you just forget about that it's not always just about you, it's about the community. So especially young men. So young men, if you're going through it and people don't love you or treat you like crap or whatever, love yourself, man. Do what you love to do. Talk to more, network with people, make new friends. Because I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of difficult sometimes to just realize like it's not that big of a deal. Whatever you're going through, I'm not trying to minimize what you're going through. I'm just saying that it's solvable. As long as you got food, water, and shelter, and you got Jesus Christ, Christ is King, backing you, you'll be all right, bro. You'll be all right. All right, first things first, after that little speech I did, I hope you guys like that. Shout out to Whoops Motorsports for helping me. They're down in Melbourne, Florida, for helping me diagnose this issue of this vehicle here. Now, yesterday, I was cruising probably like 3,100 RPM. I don't have a speedometer on this car just yet, so I'm assuming that's like 70 miles an hour, 65, 70, maybe even 80. I don't know if you guys hear that. It is not supposed to sound like that. It sounds like it's crunching. So this is a ball bearing turbo, and I'm assuming that it is because that's what I think it is. And yeah, it shouldn't sound like that. This turbo's cooked. So it's building zero boost. The turbo wheel is barely spinning. This car has been a pain in my butt recently, but that's the price of being blessed. All right, now, the next thing I'm going to do is take this oil feed line, because this is the only thing that's lubricating the turbo, and make sure that there's oil getting to this line here. If there's no oil getting to this line, that is the cause of this turbo failing, because there's no reason in hell that this turbo should fail. And I haven't done any drag racing passes, and all I've been doing is cruising with the car. But the thing is that there's a difference between passes and cruising and longevity. So I mean, yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take off this line here and see if this thing is getting oil. I'm gonna have to take the turbo off anyway, so we're gonna have to take the turbo off and get this thing rebuilt. All right, guys, so I got my handy dandy water bottle, truckers' piss bottles, truckers' bathrooms. You put the oil feed line inside of the bottle here, We're gonna crank the cart for a few seconds, make sure that there's oil coming in here. If there's oil coming in here, at least I know everything is working properly and I can just rebuild the turbo and just move on with my life. I know you guys heard that crunching at the end. That was 2 seconds started. But you see, we got oil, so that's not an issue.
All right, boys, I am back from doing the doctors. I gotta get this turbo off in a certain amount of time. So I'm not really gonna go through it. I'm just gonna do a time lapse of me getting this off because I got limited time to get it off. And also, sorry about the lighting. I need the garage door closed so I can have the door open for AC because it's starting to get hot here in Florida, and I want my dog to come in and out when he pleases. So yeah. And that's just like that, ladies and gent. It's like giving birth. You see how much that shaft plate have? That is a lot. I don't know if you guys can see that. Well, you guys should be able to see that. Yeah, so we're gonna take this turbo apart probably and figure out what was wrong. I don't think it's destroyed. I just think that there's something loose. But I had to take it out because we're gonna take it to my buddy and we're gonna figure this one out. If not, I'll just have to go with a new turbo. Hopefully this is rebuildable. I really wanna keep this turbo specifically because I like kind of like this carbon fiber housing thing. But yeah, I really wanna keep this turbo, but it is what it is if I have to use or buy a new one. So this right here is cooked.
The whole inside.
The whole inside is cooked right now. I can't even get a proper film of that. But so we got a new turbo all together. We're gonna clock it properly, and I got a oil pressure gauge on here to make sure that it's actually getting oil to this thing. So for you guys who don't know anything, shaky, eggs and bakey. Yeah, this turbo was cooked. At least the cold side is still working, but the hot side is trash. All right, guys, this is like day 100 for me, but it's in the same clip for you guys. I loosened the housing so I could clock the turbo correctly. We're gonna put that on. I got some new hardware for the turbo itself that go onto the car and stuff like that. And I'm gonna just do a little time lapse of me putting the car together so we can do so I could crank it up today at least to see how much PSI is getting to the turbo. I believe the turbo was cooked beforehand, but I just want to make sure that I don't have the same issue that I did before with oil starvation, under idle, under cold start, and while driving.
Alright guys, now I got the turbo on the car, as you guys see. And I got a gauge, obviously, for the PSI, as you guys saw. We're gonna crank this thing up. So
it means we got the turn wrong because I got tiny fingers.
yeah, her fingers were able to get into spots that mine couldn't get into. No diddy. It's at 40 PSI. What's the PSI in the car? 54. So as you guys see, it says 54 and the turbo is getting 40. Yeah, the turbo is getting 40. I don't know if that's a problem. Turn it off. Alrighty, crank it up again. Alright, it's still 40 PSI right here. I'm gonna let the car warm up and see where the temperature is at after the car warms up. I'm glad I got a couple of fire extinguishers, because look, if you guys see, everywhere that I touch, because my hand is oily, it's burning up. So my hand was all over this turbo and everything. So I got scared for a moment because I really real deal thought that I burnt up something in there. But we're Gucci. We got 40 PSI still. But this is getting kind of hot here. Alright guys, so fast forward to what's going on. My guy has told me to take this oil restrictor off and do this test again. And I had a feeling that he was going to say that. So I decided to go ahead and take it off before he told me to do so. So we're going to do a cold start up like we did before, but without the restrictor. Alrighty, so crank it. It's not going to start. Just crank it like how you was before. Crank it. How much? All right, stop. How much PSI did it say on that thing there? 14? I got 0 up here. Do it again. All right, turn it off. That's a problem. All right, go ahead and crank it up. Turn it off. It says 87 on the car. 47 on the car. It said 20 on this gauge. All right, we're gonna run it for about 5 seconds and you're gonna turn it off. Turn it back on. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn it off. 47, this is getting 20. That's a problem. Yeah, I'm not cranking this back up. All right, guys, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'm gonna fast forward what I just got through doing. I changed the oil to another oil because the oil that came in this car was too thick, I believe. Right now, it's holding above 40 PSI, and how much is the car holding? 54 PSI to the ECU at about 101 coolant temp. I don't know if you guys can see that, 101 degrees. I'm trying to get the car to roughly around 200 degrees because that's what this car normally does on hot days in the summer on idle, and see what the oil pressure is like. So I was advised to try to use this oil here, which is a 15W40. I never would thought about putting this into a regular gasoline engine, but whatever. When it first started up, it was doing way better than the other one. The turbo was holding around like 60 PSI, high 50s, while the ECU was holding to the engine around like 60s to the 70s. So there's a 10 PSI difference between the ECU, so the oil going to the ECU, and the oil going to the turbo. Now I'm having a problem where when the car reaches around 100, the coolant temps reach around 170 plus, the viscosity has tanked.
And when I mean has tanked, I mean it went from 40 psi on idle to around 20 in a short amount of time, and I turned the car off immediately because I don't want to cook this turbo here. 20 psi, I don't know if that's good for a turbo. I was told 40. The research that I've done told me 40, so you're getting half of the pressure, oil pressure, than you need to the turbo. So I said turn it off. So that's where I'm at right now. I am stumped. I've never had this issue with any car before. I've actually never had a car like this level of like a small engine, high horsepower car, or high horsepower capable car. Most like cars built back in the day were big blocks. So this is kind of new for me. I've never had this experience before, especially that this is a 1.8. So, and they move a lot faster, so the pistons have to move up and down faster to make the same amount of horsepower. And so it's kind of, I don't really know. I'm going to make some questions. I'm going to ask questions and figure this one out. I know people are probably getting annoyed with me at this point, but I want to learn what can I do to keep the oil pressure up on my turbo so I don't cook this one. All right, guys. Now that you made it to the end of the video here, I'm just going to fast forward on everything that I've kind of learned about turbo technology and all that nonsense like that, since I've never really gotten to the nitty gritty of this stuff before. But long story short is that the oil that was in this car for the break-in period, the viscosity level was too high and it wouldn't circulate. As the engine got hotter, the oil wasn't able to circulate, is what I'm going to assume, throughout the whole system properly, especially when it came about the turbo. That's what I'm going to assume. I have no proof of this, but we changed to a different oil, which you guys already saw, and it seems to be working a lot better. It's holding PSI a lot better, and stuff like that. So the next thing we got to do is work on the idle. So I'm going to see if I can talk to the tuner on lowering the idle, because the idles are like 2,000 RPM, which I think that's crazy high, but I'm going to confirm with them to make sure like that's not the case, or if there's a reason why they set it that high. But I think that's way too high, and which is causing the car to heat up probably way too quickly or getting hot, because you know, who sits at 2,000 RPM in the middle of traffic? I don't know. But the next thing is getting coolant inside of the car. Now that the car is broken in, and making sure that everything works, we're gonna put some coolant in here, antifreeze plus coolant, 50-50 mix, into the side of the car like a normal car, to help with those temperatures. See if that helps with the temperature of the engine. So if you can keep engine temps down, obviously you can keep oil temps down. If I still have discrepancies with the oil pressure going to the turbo, the next thing I would be doing is adding a oil cooler. Now this is the thing, I still have the factory oil cooler that comes on the Mazda Speeds, so I might add that with an additional external oil cooler, and I'm gonna just have to figure out where the hell I'm gonna put that. But like, subscribe, and share to all your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next video.